Happy Technique Tuesday, everybody. It happens to be St. Patrick's Day, so hope you're wearing some green. Today we are going to talk about baking our polymer clay. I said there were two areas that usually things go way wrong, and the first was in conditioning and the second was in baking. So the reason I say things go way wrong is people have a tendency to underbake their clay. You don't want to burn it, but you want to bake it for the right time and the right temperature. Now, each of the packages will have a time and temperature on it. Doesn't matter which brand it is, it'll be on there. But you will need to do a couple of tests to see what temperature your toaster oven is running at and what's the sweet spot for getting the right time and temperature for what you're making. Now, these times and temperatures are also based on thickness, so keep that in mind if you're making something that's much thicker than this one says a 1/4 of an inch. So with mine, I have a thermometer that I keep inside of it, and I'm able to adjust, if needed, my temperature based off of what this says. I will also preheat my oven for 10 minutes before I put anything in it. That's why I tend to do all my baking on one day. That way I can just keep the heat from the oven going and I don't have to preheat, turn it off, turn it on. But that's not always convenient. So do what works for you. Now, when we're baking, we want the polymer, the PVC product, which is polymer clay, and the oils that are in it, to heat up enough so that they meld together and create your product. So what we're looking for is a bendy product, not something stiff. See how much stiffer this is? This is almost too bendy because it can go all the way around. And these are actually underbaked. So watch this. They snap. There's no bend in them. They're underbaked, believe it or not. So you definitely can make some of your biggest mistakes during the baking process. So I've got, what I tend to do is cut out my shapes, and then if I have a little piece left over, I use that to test what I'm baking. I'll put that in first before I put anything else in, and then take it out, let it cool, and then see if it's pliable or not. If it's not, if it's snapping, then I know that I need to put it back in for longer. So let me go ahead and warm up my oven for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put this item in there so that you can see it. You can watch it bake and we can take it out. Now, these pieces of foil that you see are just a little metal armature. I would like this design to not fall off, but I'd like it to have kind of a wave pattern or shape to it when it's finished. So I'm going to bake it with these little pieces of foil to hold up the edges on it. I'm going to be baking on tile for today, but when we come back, I'm going to show you some other options. So let me heat up the oven, let me bake this, and we'll come back and continue. Okay, so I warmed up my oven for 10 minutes, and then for this particular clay, it was 250 for 30 minutes. And I've got nice bendy clay. Now, a couple things to point out. Make sure you have oven mitts, because when you take this out of your toast oven, it's going to be exceptionally hot. So make sure you don't burn yourself on the tile or on the oven itself. When you take it out, place it on something that will allow the heat, because this tile will be hot, so don't place it on something that's going to melt. Then 2 to 3 minutes after it's been sitting on the tile, you're going to want to go in and take these items off of the tile because you don't want them to continue cooking. These ones are already released, so I'm just going to take them off. And you can see my little metal armature put some little waves in my earrings, which is what I was wanting. Now, there's a lot of discussion about what type of surface you should bake your clay on. So I decided to do a little experiment. And I got a series of different surfaces and put clay on it to see if there was a preferred way that came out of it all. Some people do not like the shine. Let's see if you can see this. The shine that you get on the back of clay when you bake it on tile. It tends to get this shiny finish. Other people don't, it doesn't bother them. Some people will get it on there and then they will sand it off with just like a nail file or a sanding block or something. Others will fight you every which way they can and will say, I don't want the shine, so let's find a different material for me to bake on. So here's my experiment. I baked it on a coffee filter, some watercolor paper, straight on a piece of glass, on a piece of printer paper, a piece of foil with the back side, the matte side, and you know what's coming next, a piece of foil with the shiny side up, some cardstock, some contractor paper, tracing paper on the ceramic tile, and then just for giggles, I did tile on tile. And what that means is I placed another tile on top of the items that were on a tile, and it gave the tops a little bit of a shine too. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. Oh, ignore my purple hands. During the time that I was waiting for these to bake, I started a new project and got purple all over me. Yes, I know, gloves are my best friend. But I didn't put them on, so now I have purple hands. Anyway, so putting tile on tile gave me the shiny finish on the top and the bottom. These were just on the end of the tile. They weren't on the part that was tile on tile, and so they just got shiny on the back. Now, the other way to get rid of that shine on the back, if you're not a fan of it, is with some acetone. Just take some nail polish remover and a rag, put some acetone on your rag, and then rub the back of your baked clay. And a lot of times it will take that shine right off of it. See if you can see that. So instead of looking like this, it looks like this. Just took that little shine off. So now you're going to ask me which of these items that I baked on did I prefer. Well, not going to lie, I'm okay with a little bit of shine on the back. But if you're wanting a matte finish, any of these that were a paper-based item came out far more matte finished on the back. Like you see no shine on that. And that was from a coffee filter. This was from watercolor paper. This is from copier paper. So anything that was a paper product, the cardstock, the tissue paper, the coffee filter, the watercolor paper, didn't have a shine on the back of it. Came out very matte finish. So if that's what you're aiming for, pick a paper type product. You're still going to want to put your items on top of something, maybe a piece of glass, and then put it into your oven, or on top of a just plain porcelain tile, just to give your paper some rigidity so that your items don't get all wavy. Speaking of wavy, what I didn't like about the contractor paper was it never laid flat. So all these items here, let me dump them off. See how, get that into frame. There we go. See how wavy this was? the whole thing's wavy. And so these kind of got a little wavy. But anything paper-based, matte finish. Glossy-based is going to be a tile or straight off the glass. So I would say glass and tile are kind of equal on their shininess, and then all the others are paper. As for foil just didn't wow me. It didn't really do much of anything. I think the glossy side of the foil came out a little more shiny than the matte side of the foil. Makes a little sense because it's matte foil. Those two I'm probably not going to ever do again. The glass and the tile I will, and then I won't do the contractor paper again. But if I ever want anything with a matte finish, I'll definitely use a paper product. So that's what I have from my little experiment. If you'd like any more details about that, feel free to message me. Happy to talk to you about that. So let's talk about cleaning up these items. Now, once your items have cooled, then set them aside, and the next step you're going to do is to clean up any extras, any imperfections, any little scraggly bits like this right here. And remember earlier I said for me personally, straight lines are easier to clean up once it's baked, and curved lines I like to do before it's baked. Well, you can see I just got lazy and didn't do anything on this one. But let's move these out of the way. And the easiest way to do this is take an X-Acto knife. Please do not cut yourself on this. And you're going to take that very little edge away. Ooh, looks like I need a new blade in this one. It's kind of dull. You're not trying to take any of the material away, like I just went a little too deep on that. You're just trying to get these little stragglers away. So let me go around the edge here. Another way to do this is take that same nail file and just gently file the edge down. Same with the side on this one. You can also go and get, whoops, tearing everything up here. These are just a little set of sanding files that came from Harbor Freight. There's some ones that have a flat side, there's some that have a round side, and these work really well too, not very expensive. So I will clean this up, and then the next step I will take is to put resin on it. So once we have our items cleaned up, then we're going to move on to resin. So I am going to do a whole segment on resin for you, if that's the way you'd like to finish up your items. Some people prefer clay in just its regular format and will put nothing on top of it. And if that's you, that's perfectly fine. Other people will put something like a liquid glass, and I tried that because I love liquid glass. So let me see if I can find this. Okay, so here's what happened when I did liquid glass. I forgot that I had my liquid glass examples, and they were sitting on my table with other items that had been resined and cured and ready to go. And I kept bumping, and I kept knocking, and I kept putting things on top of them, and they came out horrible because they hadn't cured. They need like 24 hours to cure. So I've sanded them. I've sanded this one back down, and I'm going to try it again. But for time, resin's the way to go. One final note. Before I resin or put anything on top or polish these down, I will take the resin and wash them in soapy water to get any of the sanding dust or little bits that I have taken off of there, cleaned off. So before you resin or do any other steps, go ahead and clean your pieces. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I will probably throw a bonus class in this week so that we can start making some pretty designs together. Look forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.